Hey everybody, Chris, Four Directions Bushcraft, down here at the creek just playing around. We're gonna make another trap for you, and what I got is I got a bendable sapling here, and there's no saplings that are hanging over the creek at this point of the river, except for this one. We don't want to use that, it's too big. So anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna reconstruct our fish trap into a circle. We're gonna connect a snare to this, and I'm going to sharpen the end of this sapling, and we're going to stick it into the ground, and I'll show you an easy way to make a spring set snare for the raccoons that are down here. And you can use your fish trap and this at the same time. You can utilize them at the same time, so it's two traps in one. You're going to catch a fish in there, and then the raccoon that hopefully comes up to get your fish will be snared on here. You'll have almost like a surf and turf. So stay tuned, we'll show you how to do this. So we just sharpen that, and we're going to jam it into the ground. I mean, it's like 3 foot of sand right there. And that's going to be our So what we're going to do is jam this into the ground right over the top of our fish trap. Jam it as far into the ground as you can. And then we'll show you the next step. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to carve a trigger stick. I'm going to shorten this one up, and it needs a stick coming out of it, okay? And that's what you're going to tie your bait to. That's what you're going to tie your bait to. I flatten these both out in chisel points, both of the ends of my chisel, or my trigger stick to chisel points. And then I'm just measuring out 2 notches. I have one in a stick here. I'll show you up close here in a minute. And then I put another notch in here, and that's where my trigger stick is going to stay against. So what I do is, here's my other notch stick right here. Here's this one that I just put in there. What I want to do is I want to lay this trigger stick in here, and I just want to measure really where it's going to go. So I need to cut this end off and this end off right there. So now what I want to do is I want to tie my bank line to my trigger stick, and I want it coming up straight up the stick like that on this side of the stick. So when the trap is triggered, it pulls it straight up out of the trap. Doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, these traps will work. As long as you get it pretty close, it'll work. As long as the main secret of this is to have your snare directly over your trap. And with it being real sandy, wet soil, you need your sticks planted into the ground pretty good. So leave yourself 2 feet before you cut your notch. This one might be too close. We might have to cut another one, because the tension of the spring is going to want to pull your sticks out of the ground. So we'll tie this in to our spring pole. So what I've done is I've just created a snare loop on my trigger stick line, and I just take my wire, my small gauge wire, that way we don't have any chew out. So you just want to loop your snare through your bank line, then you're going to loop it around just like you're tying your bread at home. Take up the excess. So once we have it secured to our bank line, we just want to make a loop here, the same type of loop, pencil thick, so it slides up and down the rest of the wire so it actually snares. You want your you want your fish trap sticks to be big enough to be tall enough to where the raccoon or whatever has to get his head in here to get the bait or get your catch. Okay? And you want your snare wire big enough to cover the entire hole, or the majority of it. Because what's going to happen is he's going to get in there. You're going to smear bait all over your trigger stick as well. He's going to get in there to try to get your catch and get the bait, vice versa, whatever happens first. And he's going to trip this, and hopefully you have dinner. Surf and turf. If in a perfect world. So. Yep. Okay, so to set your trap, your snare wire needs to be as big as your trap is, because the raccoon is going to come in, or whatever it is going to come in and get in the middle of your trap. You want to get a head snare on it. Now you have to cut these notches to fit, and that's the trickiest part to setting this. And so there we are set. Your bait's obviously going to be smeared on there beforehand, and what's going to happen is these are going to have to go back up. What's going to happen is the raccoon or whatever is going to come in to get your catch or get whatever it is, trip the line, and it's going to snag them.
Like it snagged you.
And once they struggle, this is going to tighten up and tighten up and tighten up around their head. So I'm going to adjust my tension on my line to get it a little more, because that didn't catch me as good as I thought it was going to. These two sticks have to be really, really long in order to, you know, get them down in the river water long enough, because the tension from your spring pole is going to want to pull them out of the ground. I already have a minnow in there. There's a minnow, and there's a crawdad right there.
Where's he at?
Oh, I think I just scared him away. So there's our trap set again. Now I can make my trap a little smaller in order to accommodate my snare. This is a little bit big, I'd say. You want it about volleyball or basketball size. And my snare wire needs to be more tension. Or my snare pole needs to be more tension. And less snare, probably. Let's try it with less snare. We'll catch back to you. So I tried this with less snare wire. You want it about that big, about a big basketball size. Our first trap was a little bit too big. But I've set one of these up before, and it worked great, but it was smaller. So I'm going to smear my bait there, and there we go. So that worked a lot better. So thanks for watching. Thanks for your views, your comments, and your support. And stay tuned for some more trapping videos. And I hope you guys got this one. It's really simple. Trigger stick with 2 notches and a stick coming off of it, and then 2 notch sticks within your fish trap. And you never know, you could have a fish waiting in there and a raccoon hanging. So surf and turf. Anyway, you guys have fun out there, and we'll catch you on the next one.